I hired a coach and he gave me one piece of advice.
Talk to me.
And that one piece shifted the whole entire thing. The next 4 calls, I got them all. And I made $20K in 1 week. My life changed in that moment. In that moment, I was like, I'm one of these YouTube guys. I'm one of these Facebook ad guys. I belong in this room. What happened is it broke my belief. The hardest thing about high ticket sales is convincing somebody to pay you that. And once it's done once, you can do it again. That's it. I broke that barrier and I was like, and I was on a roll. And I was just closing because I understood the system now. And I had the conviction behind my voice to convince you that, listen, you pay me this much money, I guarantee you your life will change. Now it's in your hands. What are you going to do?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Marvin Francois. Here where we talk all things business, finance, and investing. And today is a very special day because my guest today is a published author, a speaker. He's been featured on CNN, Fox News, WikiHow. This man is a relationship coach turned sales coach. How did that happen? We'll get into it. He is a client success manager currently at Cole Gordon's Closers.io, scaled multiple 6 figures and beyond. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, my guy, Ahmad Jabara. How you doing, brother?
My man, how you doing?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Better now that I'm talking to you. And this episode is going to be incredible because we are going to be talking about all things high ticket sales. I'm super excited to be getting into it. But before we do that, y'all already know the drill. Take a second, take a minute, take an hour out of your day right here, right now to just go ahead, slap that like button, show this video some love. But my guy, welcome.
Damn, man.
This is a long time in the making, brother.
Yeah.
How are you? How's everything?
Dude, I'm doing great, man. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to have you.
Seeing this blow up to where it is right now, man.
You know, I mean, I'm
talking to a natural over here.
I'm just trying to keep up with you, brother.
Oh, stop.
I'm just trying to keep up with you, brother. How was the flight? How was the trip over here? I know you're currently based out in Texas right now. Came over to New York. I said, listen, if Ahmad is coming here, we got to roll out the Persian rugs. I said, we need, golden ornaments hanging from the ceiling, champagne bottles over. Clearly, yeah, it's not here yet.
Let it all out.
Yeah,
anything else?
No, I mean, a couple more things, but
right,
either way, you're here, bro. I'm so excited to have you, man. How's life? How's everything coming along with you right now?
Man, life is great. I can't complain. And it's beautiful because, again, we've known each other for a really long time.
Correct.
Before all of this started, man. And you're just seeing the growth and the progression from both of our perspectives, man. It's been absolutely beautiful. And again, man, super humbled and honored to be here. Everything you've been doing is incredible. And it's just... I'm excited. I'm excited.
You, man. I'm even more excited to have you. You know, this was an episode I've been looking to make for a very long time. And I told myself I always wanted to do an episode where I broke down sales, more specifically high ticket sales. And I said, I got to get the man himself to come on here and just give game on top of game on top of game. Usually with every Marvin Francois show episode, the first question I ask is, who you are, where you're from, how you got your start. But I want to do something a little different this morning. I want to attack it from a different angle. In my introduction, I said relationship coach turned sales coach. There's some people listening to that and like, what? How in God's green earth did that happen? How did you go, my friend, from being a relationship coach into a sales coach? Let's start there.
Okay. So I actually became a relationship coach as a joke.
Okay.
So initially in high school, I did pretty well with the woman.
Okay.
Right? But in my head, I thought I had game.
Okay.
But the reality of it was I was a skinny boy with a skinny boy 6-pack.
Okay.
And I was the soccer team captain.
All right.
So girls liked me. When I graduated, I was getting rejected left and right. And I was like, wait a minute, that's weird. That's not supposed to happen. And then I realized, I'm like, all right, maybe I don't have as much game as I thought. And then one day I'm just sitting there in my kitchen eating my Nutella and my boxers. And I hear this ad on Pandora. And for all the young people here, Pandora was the old Spotify.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this man could talk to any woman. He's a legend. He's this. And I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna buy a book on how to like talk to a woman. That's dumb. And then I hear that ad 6 more times that day. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll read 1 page. Maybe I'll read 2 pages. Those 2 pages ended up being 5 pages. Those 5 pages ended up being 20. And then I read the whole book. And I realized, like, oh my God, I learned a lot. And then I realized it was one of the worst books ever written on dating. So then I actually got the real good books and I started learning the real material. So then I went to college and I was a freshman bringing all the seniors back home. And all my freshmen were like, yo, my friends were like, how are you doing it? And as a joke, I was like, yo, come to the common room and bring $5. I'll teach you. And in my head, I was like, yo, I'm not going to tell them I read a book. And again, I didn't think anything of it. So like, the night comes up and they come and knock on my door. I'm like, yo, where are you? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'll be right there. Got my whiteboard, had my first seminar, made $15, and
$15.
15.
In college, that's good money right there. Listen, brother, that's ramen noodle money right there. Right.
100%.
Right.
And then I was an engineer at the time.
Okay.
So my engineering friends told their sophomore friends, who told their junior friends, who told their seniors who actually had jobs. And then from there, it just escalated into something bigger.
Right.
And I never thought anything of it. I ended up going to New York after college. And I wanted to be an actor. I ended up doing a reality TV show for a dating coach.
Okay.
That wanted to basically help men like talk to women. And I was like, I work with these men all the time. I can be that guy that needs help.
Right.
Did the show, went really well, and I told her, I was like, oh, by the way, I used to be a dating coach, and if you're looking for anybody, I'll do it. And in my head, I never thought anything of it. I was like, all right, I just gave people some advice. I made a couple of bucks, and it was dope. Nothing crazy. 6 months later, she messages me. The interview was literally, I'm going out with a client. You're with us, and you have to show me how. You have to show us. So you have to get a girl's number in public, in front of him. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, listen, I'm good, but like, that's pressure.
Yeah, the heat is on.
Oh my God. And I'm not gonna lie, that was the best interview of my life. I don't know. God blessed me. He gave me the girls that were gonna give me their number on the first go.
Right.
And it was wonderful. And she looked at me, she was like, wow, you're really good at math. I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess
and you gotta play it cool. You're like, yeah, I am good. I am. Yeah, I am. Right.
Yeah. And then, I worked with the guy 3 weeks later. This man got more dates than he's ever gone in his entire life. And then I just worked with them, grew up, and then I think 3 years later I became the head coach of the company, scaled them up. And
what was the name of the company? I don't know if you're allowed to say it.
Yeah, no, it's completely fine. NYC Wing Woman.
Okay.
So it was it was the biggest dating coach company in New York City.
Okay, gotcha.
But what really transitioned and changed was during COVID. Basically, when I was working with her, I was helping them out, but I wasn't getting like paid like crazy amounts of money. I didn't even think you can make that much money as a coach.
Right.
But during COVID, I created a new system, and in that system, I was able to help clients in 3 weeks literally transform their whole entire dating life. Because the whole idea of dating was like, oh, be a pickup artist, put on this mask, get all these girls to fall in love with you. The problem is they fell in love with the facade of you. They didn't actually like you. So after 3 or 4 months, they realized you actually weren't that cool guy that they liked.
Right.
You're a loser, and then you'd go through that cycle. You get heartbroken, do it over and over again. What I shifted is I started making these men into these guys. These perfect guys that were like actually the guys that women were attracted to and they were chasing instead of the other way around.
Right.
So it wasn't about focusing about dating anymore. It was focusing about your status, your wealth, your fitness, your confidence. And overall just becoming that best version of yourself that actually attracts these women.
Right.
And that shifted everything. The company I was with started making a lot of money, and I started seeing that money, and a lot of it wasn't coming to me.
You. Yeah.
And I was like, and that's when I discovered high ticket. I got an ad during COVID. Listen, man, I was broke, unemployed. I just lost my job, and I was like, I got my life savings, and it was this ad from a coach named Russ Rufino. And
what's his name? Say it again.
Russ Rufino.
Russ Rufino.
Clients on demand.
Okay.
Jumped on it. $12K later.
12K later. Oh, okay.
12K later. Most stressful. I just literally jumped and prayed.
Okay.
And a couple of years later, man, everything changed. So
what was that transition like, going from the relationship space to now being in a sales space, kind of just like that essentially? Was it seamless? Did it take some time? Like, how long did it take for you to get fully ingratiated into that space?
So the thing is, well, here's the thing. In terms of the high ticket space, the most important thing, as crazy as it sounds, is the sales call, because that's where you're gonna make all your money. Like, marketing could be great, but if you're paying like $10,000 or $20,000 to get like 100 leads and you don't close any of them,
right?
What are you really doing?
Right.
You know. So for me, it actually took me 9 months to create my perfect sales script.
Wow.
9 months, and I hired a bunch of different coaches, not just him. I had he was just the beginning. This was the start. This was getting my feet wet.
Right.
And then it was just hiring coach after coach and taking a little bit from them, taking a little bit from them, and then just putting it all together.
Okay.
You know, to get to the point where now like I'm working with Cole and like his script is like
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Right. Interesting.
But yeah, so like what ended up happening was, in my relationship coaching program, a lot of my clients were executives. So they worked for Google, they worked for Facebook, they worked for like these big companies. And I was helping them succeed with women and just overall their relationships with their wives or whatever. And they were like, well, I'm getting better at communicating with my wife, but how do I communicate with my sales team? How do I communicate with my executives? How do I communicate better and not come off like this arrogant or mean person that they don't want to work with?
Right.
And I noticed that I was giving them advice and they were doubling, tripling their ROI. And I'm like, why don't I I had another package, and it was technically called performance coaching.
Right.
And in that performance coaching, I would teach them skills on how to make money, and also then enhance the fact of being the high value man or that man that they want to be. And that's what I started teaching sales.
Right.
And it just kind of transitioned overall.
Right.
Just by that upsell to like from relationship coaching, performance coaching, which was like another like double the price or whatever.
And the rest is history.
That's it, man.
And you went from that, and then now, like I said, you are currently a client success manager over at Cole Gordon's Closers.io.
Yes.
Rocking it. I mean, absolutely killing the game. So, safe to say things worked out fairly
100%.
well. Yeah, things worked out fairly well. And that's the reason why I was so excited to have you on, because you kind of touched on it. This is a podcast where a lot of different entrepreneurs from all different walks of business come in. I have people that have credit restoration companies, people that are in trucking, people that are in real estate, people that are in, crypto, whatever, right? All different types of businesses. And like you touched on, you have marketing, you have, operations and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, regardless of what kind of business that you have, what kind of, walk of entrepreneurship that you occupy, if you don't know how to sell, I don't care how much leads you have in the pipeline. I don't care how great your team is. You need to know how to do the number one thing that's going to make your business, your baby, right, survive, which is make money, which is sell, whatever it may be, right? And that's why I was super excited to have you on, because I really want to break it down in a way that I feel like is not really I haven't seen being broken down enough on the internet. Can we do that? Is that all right with you?
Dude, let's do it.
Are you sure?
Listen, man, I'm here to give as much value as possible. For you,
listen,
anything, bro.
We have a slogan here at the Mark Farns. So if you give too much value, I might just smack your mic down.
Got it.
All right. So be careful. Be very, very careful. No, but let's dive right into it. Right. So let's talk about, what is selling, right? Because I feel like when a lot of people think about selling or sales, there's always this old school preconceived notion of like sales is this bad thing, right? We think about this guy at a used cars dealership with like a pinstripe suit, oversized, right? He's selling you this piece of trash car for, that's what people I feel like associate sales with. How would you personally, being a sales coach in a space, how would you define selling? How would you define sales?
Very simple, man. I think the big misconception is sales is only when you get somebody's credit card.
Okay.
All selling is persuading somebody to do something for you.
That's it.
Plain and simple. Because think about it. When you break it down, and I get this with a lot of the clients we work with right now, where it's like, I don't have any sales experience. What do you mean you don't have any sales experience? You're constantly selling. Every single day you're selling.
Right.
You telling your mom you want to ride to the mall, you're selling her.
Right.
You're convincing her why she should give you a ride to the mall and how it's going to benefit her and how it's going to benefit you.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. All when you have a sales job, all you're doing is just asking somebody for a credit card at the end of the call or at the end of the persuasion. That's literally it. But if you can successfully convince someone to add to your benefit in a way where hopefully you can add to their benefit as well, that's sales.
That's it.
Don't overthink it.
Okay.
People put too much emphasis on sales, and they think like it's this complicated, unheard of thing that they just never tapped into. Just breathe. It's all good. Simple.
Interesting. Okay, so now my next question to you would be, in us now starting to understand that sales it's not just as simple as give me your credit card and let me run it up, right? It's a lot more than that. If I'm an entrepreneur, when it comes to my business, do I need to learn how to sell, or could I just bypass that and go get somebody else who does know how to sell and come bring them into my business?
Well, as an entrepreneur, no one's ever going to sell your product better than you.
That's a fact.
You know it
right.
better than anybody else. And here's the thing. If you can't sell, what makes you think somebody else can sell it?
Right.
Because think about it. If you get in there and you are now pitching your product and you can't even convince the person that your product is good enough, how are you going to be able to translate that to your salesperson and train them? What calls do you have? What example are you setting? You're basically giving this person your brand, your company, and be like, hey, you know what? Figure it out. How does that make you look like as a leader?
Not the best, to say the least.
And at the end of the day, and this is what tends to happen. So initially, before I started working with just the academy, with just training the salespeople, I was an account manager. So I was working with business owners, and I was helping them scale their companies so they can actually get enough leads to hire salespeople to work with them. And one of the big things where they would come in and be like, "Oh, well, I just came here because I just wanted somebody to sell for me." I'm like, "Do you know how to sell?" Like, "No, I don't." And that's exactly why I wanted somebody to come sell for me. Well, if you don't know how to sell, you can't coach them on how to be better. If they're not closing at a high percentage or a high rate, you can't look at their call and be like, you know what, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. I want you to be closing at least 50% of your own product. And then once you've gotten so good that you can now teach it or explain it to your people, that's when I think it's smart to actually bring the salesperson. I know it's terrifying. I know it's scary just to get on that phone call and you're just like, I just want to avoid that. I just want to focus on marketing. I want to focus on content creation. Great. But I still want you to understand what is happening on that call because it's going to significantly increase the value of your company, your brand, and just overall your knowledge and as an entrepreneur and in general, you know? So ideally, again, you could possibly get away with it. It's not a good foundation for a successful long-term business, in my opinion.
Got you. Do you think that there's a set time frame in terms of, okay, you know, because we know about the 10,000 hour theory or whatever the case may be. I would imagine it's variable when you think about how long it's going to take for you to learn how to sell your own stuff, right? Because everybody has different stuff to sell. Some people have services, other people have products, other people are selling information, mentorships, masterminds, all these different things. Is there a, given your experience, if I'm coming into sales, is there a time frame to where it's like, I know if I clock in this many hours, I'm going to get X amount good at sales?
I had a kid, 19 years old, come in like about, I want to say 2 months ago.
Okay.
Never sold a day in his life. Nothing. He was working 2 jobs, working for Whole Foods and GameStop, making about $2,300 a month, which is wild.
For a kid, yeah.
Wild. Yeah, but it's good for like his age. I'm like, that's a lot of money.
Right.
At like 19. After 5 weeks and maybe about 60 mock calls, this man is his first month making $8,000 as a setter, not even a closer.
And we're going to get into that.
As a setter.
Okay.
You know, and it's all because of the repetition. You can learn sales, but if you're not practicing, you're not getting the experience. Here's the thing. You can watch all the videos in the world, but if you don't get in there and you don't implement it, you're never actually going to learn. Because the video is never going to tell you sales is not linear. Right. Sales is exponential and it's going to go up, down. It's going to play with your emotions. It's going to play with your feelings. It's going to hurt your soul. I can't tell you how many times I just wanted to be done with sales. Right. Because some of these people, they break your heart. But again, until you experience that, you'll never learn what true sales is. And that's why I always tell people, you got to do mock calls. So if you're an entrepreneur right now and you're listening to this and you just got a sales script, you bought a course, you're super excited about the sales script, don't wait till your first prospect call or client call so you can test it out. Call all your friends, give them literally $10 or be like, I'm taking you out to dinner. I just need you to be on this call for a good 30 to 40 minutes. And if you do this to me once a week, I promise you, I will reward you heavily, somehow, some way. And just keep getting those reps. And do it with different people, at least 5 different friends, because you get different reactions. And tell them to throw curveballs at you. I want to see how you navigate through that because these mock calls, they're still reps. You're still practicing. And then when it comes down to actually getting on the prospect call with a real prospect, you'll know exactly how to navigate it without actually wasting your own ad spend or your potential $3,000, $4,000, $10,000 deal on something that you could have avoided if you just practice a little more. Got you.
When you weren't coming out, how many calls were you doing? When you were learning it out?
Listen, man, I learned the hard way.
Talk to me.
All right.
You have to look down. He said, "Listen, man, the PTSD is real."
Dude, from what I've learned now, man, I wish I had what I teach now. To the people when I started off. Right. Because here's the thing, man. I paid $10,000 to get 26 leads, which is awful. Wow.
$10,000 for 26 leads?
Because my marketing wasn't
good.
Learned the hard way.
Got you.
And out of those 26 leads, guess how many I closed?
If I paid 10 racks, I bet I closed at least 24, 25. 3?
0. Let me fix that. My bad. Let me fix that. Let me
0.
3 would have been great. I would have made my money back.
Right. You ain't nothing.
0.
Wow.
That was the most stressful time of my life.
Right.
I was, but again, just to show, horrible. And this is not like, I like to think I'm a good communicator. Right. But still, it's not just about communicating.
There's so much more that goes into it.
It's deeper.
Right.
So anybody out there like, I'm charismatic, I can guess it. Like, trust me, when you get into high tickets, it's very, very different.
Okay, well now let's so you.
Yeah, but before we get into that, before we jump into
talk to me.
The problem is after I spent that $10K. I literally just couldn't close anything. But here's the thing. I hired a coach and he gave me one piece of advice.
Talk to me.
And that one piece shifted the whole entire thing. The next 4 calls, I got them all. And I made $20K in 1 week. My life changed in that moment. In that moment, I was like, I'm one of these YouTube guys. I'm one of these Facebook ad guys. I belong in this room. Right. And what happened is it broke my belief The hardest thing about high ticket sales is convincing somebody to pay you that. And once it's done once, you can do it again. That's it. I broke that barrier and I was like, and I was on a roll and I was just closing because I understood the system now. And I had the conviction behind my voice to convince you that, listen, you pay me this much money, I guarantee you your life will change. Now it's in your hands. What are you going to do?
Hold on. Let me sit up because we about to get into the fun stuff. Let's dive into it, man. Let's talk about it. High ticket sales, right? First and foremost, what is the difference between high ticket sales and like low ticket sales? What exactly is high ticket sales?
So a lot of coaches kind of have different perspectives in terms of what they consider high ticket. For me, anything $3,000 and above is high ticket in my opinion.
Okay.
Some people say 1,000, that's not really it's not high ticket in my opinion.
Okay.
2,000, we're pushing it. Because low ticket is anything that I can sell you without having to get on the phone with you. I've seen people sell $2,500 courses if they have enough authority and leadership in the platforms or space where they can get away with that. But like, in terms of low ticket, that's anything under $3,000, $2,500 is low ticket. Anything above that is high ticket.
Okay, got you. And now when it comes to high ticket, because I did my research before you came in, brother. I promise you I did. One thing I kept reoccurring thing I kept seeing when I was doing my research into high ticket sales is, and you touched on it before, setter closer, right? That's the biggest thing. I remember even there was one time me and you were talking on the side, and I was like, yo, I'm trying to work on my sales. He was like, you need a setter and a closer. That was the first thing that you texted back to me, right? For those who are watching right now who don't know, when it comes to high ticket sales, what is a setter and what is a closer, and why are they so important to high ticket sales?
So the thing about it is you don't need a setter.
Okay.
But it's extremely valuable.
Okay.
And think about it like this. When you have a setter, it's like the more people that they have to go through to get to you is significantly better.
Is it?
And the reason for that is because it builds you as an authority. So it builds you as a very extremely valuable person. That's on a mindset level.
Gotcha.
You know, because you have to go to this person to talk to this person to get to you.
Okay.
And it shows that it's like, all right, he has people working for him. And I need to, basically, I'm qualifying or I'm auditioning to be a part of your,
right?
You know, and that's just that's an extremely powerful place to extremely powerful frame to be in when you're selling high ticket. Because when it comes to high ticket, a lot of these people don't think their problem's worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
Right.
But when they go through these steps, in their head they're like, "Oh, okay, this is a little different."
Right.
Now I'm feeling one, a little more special, but also this is extremely valuable. So what a setter does is, let's say that you have your course, you're releasing your course, and you create a PDF, a video, something like a lead magnet.
Right.
When they click on your ad, they will basically, to get that lead magnet, they will give you their emails, their phone numbers, etc. What a setter does, and what a good setter does, is immediately as soon as that lead comes in, maybe like an hour, wait like an hour, just so they can see it or download it, they reach out to them. Okay. And they ask them basically, all right, so I just wanted to call because I wanted to see if I can support you with the thing you downloaded. And they ask them questions about that. And basically the truth is, no one's ever gonna download that if they didn't have any problems. Like you're never gonna download you're gonna be sitting on Facebook or Instagram, you're looking at scrolling, thinking, oh, make $10,000 a month, and you're gonna be like, oh wow, that's exciting. If you're making $10,000, you're not gonna care about it. Right. But you're gonna click on it because something in you made you feel that I need this product to get out of the pain that I'm feeling right now. And a setter is there to make you realize that you're in pain, and the reason you download it is because you're in pain. Okay. But guess what? I got you, and I'm gonna do you a favor, and I'm gonna help you get out of this pain. I'm gonna connect you with one of our people, our coaches, our closers, and he's gonna give you a blueprint to get you out of this pain and get you to wherever you want to go to, that pleasure point. That you want to go to France, take you to France, take you to Paris, help you move your family out of whatever living environment you're in, make you $20,000 so you can invest in real estate, and it's all with just one call. And that's where the closer comes in. Okay. But you've already hyped the closer up so much where this person is.
So the setter's he's like warming him up essentially.
100%.
Got you.
And then the closer basically, at the end of the day, closes. And we'll talk about what makes a good closer or makes a decent closer.
We getting into it.
But the setter is extremely important because that's the first impression of the company.
Got you.
So if the setter's not good, it speaks very highly about how the closer is going to be and how the overall experience is going to be. So it's kind of like taking them through another funnel, but just this is with people. And like, I like you, so I'm definitely going to like this person. I don't like you, I like you, we can still work out. But if I don't like you, we can't get to the next level. So the setter is extremely important to be liked. They have to be charming, charismatic. They have to be able to pull you in. Right. Because they're extremely, but again, you don't need it because some people will just jump on and be like, oh, book a closer call. Right. And At that point, because you can never get on these calls without actually wanting to get on them. You know what I mean? Like, I have to book it for me to want to pay you $5,000. You can't just set me and be like, oh, I want to pay you $5,000.
Right. So now my question to you would be, you kind of said it. You said that you don't necessarily need a setter, but when you get one, it's invaluable because of how much more it helps the closer. If you don't have a setter, does that mean now that the closer has to do twice as much work to make up for a setter not being there? And if so, how does that work from just in terms of the call?
They got to be really good to do a 1-call close.
Okay.
That's it. At the end of the day, what makes this beautiful is a 2-call close. And sometimes the closer will have 3 calls depending on, you know, if they want to think about all the objection handling, it didn't work out, and they want to talk to their spouse, so et cetera, et cetera. But that was the little shift that changed my business.
Okay.
I was doing 1-call closes and I was getting rejected left and right. All I did to get those 4 back-to-back closes was I added another thing called a triage call.
Okay.
And a setter call initially is just to kind of see if they can help them out, but usually it transforms into a triage call. A triage call is like a qualifying call for the closer.
Right.
All I did was when they applied to work with me or they wanted to speak to me, I would put them on a triage call, which is a 15-minute qualifying call where they signed up for it. So it's not me reaching out to them out of the blue.
Right.
And I would just sit there and I would qualify them. And I'd be like, all right, you're a good fit. I'm going to put you on to the next call. And I'm like, oh, I only have 10 minutes. Let's just chat about this stuff. Like, we're going to talk about your goals, your expectations, what are the problems you're feeling, and just kind of dive into it. Keep it short and sweet, you know, nothing too crazy. And then I would take that information on our next call. Then I would be like, all right, if you make it through, we'll have a deeper call where we can actually dive into all this stuff deeper and understand where you really want to go and where you're really at this point. And that would be transitioning to the closer call. And what this did is it allowed me to already have rapport with them. So when I got on the closer call, it was like, oh, we're just friends. We're just talking again. And it made them significantly more comfortable because they trusted me because they already had 2 points of contact. And after the triage call, they might have been able to research, they might have been able to see, to validate, all right, this is legit. Because now in their head, it's operating a little bit differently instead of just kind of 1 call and being like, all right, now the pressure's on. And next time I have to call them, I have to like basically talk about price compared to now where they have the ease to be like, all right, well, I like him so far. I like what the company's about. Let me research it a little bit more so they can kind of like get their like scam guards down. Right. You know, and it was night and day difference. Got you.
Interesting. Okay. All right, so now let's dive a little bit more into, let's talk about what makes sales. Let's talk about the call, right? Let's talk about that in and of itself, because I know, me and you have talked about it off camera. The science of what goes into a successful sales call, what goes into a properly structured sales script. You know, you talked about it earlier. It took you 9 months.
Yeah.
And thousands upon thousands of dollars of investing into all these different coaches to where you got a script to where you looked at it and was like, yeah, this will work. This is going to get the job done. Yeah. Let's break that down, right? Because that's the most important thing. You know, if I'm watching this and I'm a coach, or if I'm an entrepreneur looking to sell a mastermind, a mentorship, a course, whatever it may be, and I'm looking to figure out how to properly build out my sales calls and build out my sales script, and I'm looking to the man himself, Ahmad Jabbar, to give me step-by-step breakdown of how I go about doing it. How does that look like? Walk me through that.
Okay, so this is, in my opinion, I don't say perfect format, but it's because it's about framing it. All right. Okay. So at least my structure is rapport, frame, discovery. Discovery is broken down in 2 parts: heaven, hell. You qualify, you pitch, and objection handling.
Okay. Let's walk through each part. Let's start off with the top.
So initially, rapport.
Okay.
Very quick. Again, it could be simple as, oh, where are you calling me from? Or how's it over there in terms of weather? Something simple. Just, I need to find a reason to like you, and you need to find a reason to like me. And just kind of, can we find something in that quick 1 to 2 minutes to connect?
Okay. Once
you've done that, and again, it doesn't have to be too long. When people think rapport, they think about sitting there and talking about their whole life story. No. Just very quick. And then just jump into it. This is extremely important. Your frame is everything. And what I mean by frame is how you frame the call. So one thing I will tell them is like, all right, start off the call like this. So what I realize work on these calls, I'm gonna help you find out 3 things. All right, what's working in your love life, what's not working, and where you want to be. And hey, man, if I can help you get there, amazing, I will. But if I can't, I'm gonna try to give you as much value as possible. How does all that sound? Beautiful. You got a pen? You got a pen and paper?
Of course I do.
Beautiful. All right, well, let's just dive in.
Let's do it.
What motivated you to jump on this call? You see that frame? It's like everything shifted. My tonality, and now it's just kind of straightforward. And that first step where I asked you, oh, do you have a pen and paper? It's like a command. So you're already receptive. And now you're already, but now you also know that now I'm in business. So
Mm-hmm.
this was fun. We were talking about the weather.
Right. Now let's remember why we here.
That's it.
There you go.
And what people mess up is right here, because there's leadership frame and there's friendly frame.
What's the difference?
All right. Leadership frame is you are an authority on this call that can give them the solution that they're looking for.
Okay.
Friendly frame is we're cool. We're going to get a beer after this.
Okay.
You're not going to buy from somebody that you feel like is friendly or is sitting there validating you, making you feel good about yourself.
Right.
Instead of somebody that's sitting there and challenging you, asking you those tough questions that you don't want to face to make you realize he actually cares about you enough to get you to that promised land that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And it just all starts off with that first thing I just said. How do you frame the call?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to mean business? Or are we just going to talk about random stuff?
Hey, man, how was the game this Sunday? What's life like? How's the wife and the kids?
Do you really care?
Not really, no. Not at all.
It's Saturday.
Right.
You could be doing so many better things.
Right.
Let's get to business.
Right.
And that's and this is the part where a lot of people really mess up. If you mess up at the beginning, you've lost the call.
Really?
You've lost it.
There's no way to recoup it back.
It's tough because that's the first impression.
Right.
And if you've already lost frame of that call, you're not that leader anymore. And sometimes it shifts.
Mm-hmm.
The prospect starts asking the closer the questions. I can't tell you how many calls I've reviewed, and it's kind of, I'm sitting there and I'm like, geez, man, who's closing who?
Right.
It's like you have the prospect just literally asking questions, but so what about you? What do you think about this? And I'm like, you've just lost complete control of the situation.
Right.
The person who's asking the questions is the one who's winning.
That's a bar. Okay. Say that again, but say it slow.
The person who is asking the questions is the person that's winning on that call.
So you just gave, I love that you just gave a nice quick strategy in terms of establishing that leadership frame, which is like essentially giving them command. Yo, you have a pen? All right, pick it up. Are there any other little things that we could do to establish leadership early on within the call, or is that one of the better ways to do it?
Your questions.
That's it.
Are your questions powerful?
Okay.
Can you actually dive into what they're saying? Are you listening to what they're saying?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is, I don't want to, people are listening to this being like, oh, frame, it's not. Trust me when I say frame is everything.
Okay.
If people show up on this call and they feel like they respect you, they can learn from you.
Mm-hmm.
If they feel like they can't learn from you, if they feel like they're already better than you, you've already lost them. And what tends to happen is people break frame by getting into friendly frame by validating. And validating is overcompensating for your own insecurity.
Okay.
Because you don't believe that the product is worth that much, and you feel like you have to make the person feel better about themselves to actually get them. Because this is what the car salesman does. Smoozes you up, you know what I mean? You're amazing, you're beautiful. Look at your lineup, man. It's crisp. It's amazing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Everything about you is great.
Yeah.
We don't do that over here.
Right.
We're like, all right, so you're happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. How many leads did you get last month?
Well, it's not.
Got it.
Yeah, it's not
5?
A little bit.
Okay. How many of them did you close? 2? Okay. What's your price point? 1,000? Oh, so you made about 2K last month. Okay. Huh. How does that make you feel? Are you happy with that? Oh, this conversation shouldn't be comfortable.
Right.
The more uncomfortable it is, the more you're bringing the truth to their life.
Right.
That is the only way to convince them, like, oh my God, this is a bigger problem than I thought. And I need to do something about it. And this person cares about me, where they really want me to. And again, I'm not sitting there like, it's not manipulation. This is not influence. This is truly like the best closers are the ones that truly empathize and care about their people.
Right.
I want to see you succeed, but I'm not going to let you give up on yourself. I'm not going to let you walk away. You got to think about what you got to think about. You know? So that's the framing aspect.
Right. Huge.
Discovery. If you do discovery well, objection handling is extremely rare.
What is discovery?
Discovery is breaking down what Cole, Russ Rufino, some of the big coaches, they break down as hell and heaven.
Okay.
But every coach sells it differently.
Okay.
Plain, pleasure, problem, solution. Same thing, but just worded differently because of copywriting.
Right.
So everybody does it differently. Some people will have hell first and then heaven, or they'll have heaven first and hell. I mean, for me initially, I used to do heaven first and then hell, but I mean, it doesn't really matter because I switch them on or off. As long as you're getting to the point of each one of them, it doesn't really matter.
Gotcha.
So, the way I look at it is, when you go through the hell, the way to get that out is an easy first question is like, so what motivated you to jump on this call? That situation, they just go off. And in that moment, I want you to listen to everything they're saying. And you have to basically, what you have to do as a closer is you have to bring out that pain. Here's the thing. There's a difference between a setter and what kind of pain a setter brings up and what kind of pain a closer brings up. A setter just brings up enough pain to make you realize there's a problem. A closer paints that picture. Okay? And the big difference is, like, let's say a setter is trying to tell you, you want to travel when you make the money. Where do you want to go? Oh, I want to go to France. Got it. Amazing. Cool. That's what a setter does. A closer will come to you and be like, got it. So what city in France? Okay. Any excursions you want to do? Are you going by yourself? Are you going with family? Girlfriend, maybe? Got it. Anything you're super excited about being there? You see, and I want you to picture that. And then after that, are you going to go somewhere else? Are you going to go to England, maybe? You're creating a picture so vivid that they connect their emotional response to that product with that picture you've just painted for them.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's like you have to connect your product to the response they get in either hell or heaven. And once they feel that emotional connection to it, they'll pull out their wallet and give you the money.
And this is discovery.
This is just discovery. So when it comes to discovery, I break it down into, and this is something that was taught to me by one of my mentors, the ones that actually gave me that like piece of gold. His name is Taki Moore, one of the most incredible coaches for coaches.
Say it again.
Taki Moore.
Taki Moore. Okay.
He taught me this. I don't want to take credit for this because this is a gem. This is called the 3 levels of truth. Okay. So there's always, when on a call, there's always a perspective that needs to be found out from the prospect's perspective.
Right.
So the first truth is always the spoken truth. Spoken truth is when I was doing a dating offer, you basically came on this call because you needed help with a woman. I know that, you know that, we both know you need help with a woman. Amazing. Cool. Unspoken truth is I sit at home at night, I look at the ceiling and I masturbate every night because I have no one to hold me.
Well, yeah. Okay.
That's the unspoken levels of truth.
Right.
You know that. I don't know that. But it is my job to find that out. A good closer plays right between spoken and unspoken.
Okay.
They don't dive too deep, but they're trying to bring up something.
Right.
A good setter does that. A good closer taps into unspoken levels of truth.
Okay.
Where he's just tapping into, what are you doing at night? How does it feel? Does it hurt? Are you depressed? A phenomenal closer taps into the unknown levels of truth.
Okay.
And the unknown levels of truth are basically the issues that you don't even know exist. So the reason you're struggling with women is because you have self-limiting beliefs that stop you from achieving anything you want to do in your life. Your parents neglected you as a child. You got bullied. You got hurt. You got abused somehow, some way. And now, because of these belief systems you've created, you've just been paralyzed or stagnant throughout your whole entire life. So now, $1,000 problem just became a $5,000 problem. Because at the end of the day, you didn't know this even existed.
Right. So essentially, you're peeling the layers back and like you said, helping realize, like, oh shoot, I didn't even know that this was a thing. Right. Okay.
Because the majority of reasons why a lot of these coaches don't make the money they make is because they don't believe they're worthy enough to actually make $5,000 after a course or a coaching call. Where does that come from? Who told you weren't worthy when you were younger? Where did this lack of self-belief come from? I help you find that on that call. Like, just some of these calls, man, they go on to an hour and a half. But listen, an hour and a half call to make $10,000. Let's do it.
Yeah, that sounds like a call I'd be willing to make.
100%.
But listening to you break this down, how emotional do some of these calls get, man? Have you ever been on a call where, like, because I'm listening to some of these questions, I'm like, yo, I would imagine some people cry. Like,
100%.
Really?
100%.
How bad does it get, like, from an emotional standpoint when you're really diving into it? Because is there a line that you walk where essentially you make sure it doesn't go from sales call to therapy session? Like, how do you tread that line lightly?
So here's the thing. A therapy session is sitting there and just listening to them complain. A sales call is guiding them to realize they have a problem and they need to do something about it. That's the biggest difference.
That's good. Okay.
I'm not sitting there just listening to them. Oh, tell me about their life story. No. And again, this is what happens. Sometimes on these calls, they lose their frame. People will just go and talk about their grandma. I don't really care about your grandma. Like, oh, got it. Amazing. Cool. But I want to kind of get back on focus and like, oh, let's discuss how your grandma is affecting you getting these leads.
Right.
And we reframe them. And this is why having strong leadership frame is extremely important. So you always have control of the conversation. But in terms of like just moving forward, like you really have to kind of call them out whenever you feel like you're losing.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Got you. Okay. And this is still, are we still in discovery, or is it because you talked about the 3 levels of truth. So it's spoken truth, unspoken truth, and then unknown truth. Those are the 3, correct?
Yeah.
Then from there, where does the call go moving forward?
So once you've gotten be broken down to that level, then you qualify.
What is qualifying?
So you qualify, basically you get them to a place where either after the heaven or hell, so you want to make $20,000 a month, right? Amazing. What have you done to get there? And they'll tell you some reason. Oh, I've tried courses, I've tried books, I've tried all this stuff.
Right.
God, has any of that worked? A little bit. It hasn't got me where I want it. Got it. So, I mean, just out of curiosity, like what really resonated with what we were doing that really stuck out to you? And now what they're doing is they're selling themselves. So when they sell themselves, oh, I mean, yeah, well, I mean, I'd love to share some thoughts if you're interested. And then from there, well, just based on everything you said you've been heartbroken this many times, your mother neglected you as a child, so you've been just sleeping with girls and you've been really hurt about that, but you want to find a committed relationship. And because you're sad that you're not getting relationships, now it's affecting you at work, so now you're not making any money and you're possibly going to get fired. So you're hoping to possibly get out of that system and get out of that belief frame so you can actually get the girl of your dreams, have the life that you want. By the way, am I getting everything right? Cool, got it. And you check in and be like, so what you do is you're recapping their pain, their pleasure, and then you're just basically getting them ready for the transition. And that's the pitch.
Okay.
And then once you qualify them, you basically do like a temp check. Be like, all right, so just like everything, how does all that sound? And you kind of want to feel how excited they are about kind of just where they're at, the process in terms of where they want to move forward. And one thing I'd always say is, all right, so does this make sense so far? Are you comfortable with everything? Where do you think we should go from here? And you're like, oh, well, what's the next steps? Got it. So if the three main problems are bam, 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 bam. And this now we're transitioning into the pitch. So I'll find out the three biggest problems they have. So let's say that you can't find girls. I'm just speaking in terms of dating. You can't find girls, so you don't know where to find them. Amazing. That's one problem. Your online dating profile sucks. That's the second problem. And you have approach anxiety or rejection fear. I'll talk about the problem, like, all right, so you don't know where to find girls, and what this is gonna do is it's gonna stop you from being able to have a lot of dates, and because you're not getting a lot of dates, you're not getting a lot of opportunities to actually meet the girl of your dreams. And if you don't do this, it's gonna hurt you because you're gonna be lonely and sad. What we need to do is we need to actually create a way where now instead of you chasing, you're gonna attract. And the way we do it is we do it with one of my first steps. And this is and you always connect their problem to the pitch. Like if somebody and this is an important thing. Let's say that you're doing lead gen, and it's not like a B2B. It's not a B2C offer. It's a B2B offer. So if they come to you and they say basically, I need help, like making money or talking to women, you have to now. If they say, oh, I've been doing Facebook ads, all right, but your program is YouTube ads. Don't sell them on the fact that YouTube ads are better. Tell them, oh, we're going to help you with your ads. And then once they start working with the coach will reframe their beliefs to why they should be using YouTube ads.
Gotcha.
Because if you use YouTube ads and he wants Facebook ads, you're not speaking the client's language.
Right.
And you've just lost the sale.
No, that's it.
So be very, very careful with how you pitch your process based on their pains and their pleasures. And again, you also have to realize one big thing that I also forgot to mention is B2B and B2C are kind of different.
How so?
So B2C is tapping into like where it's not really.
Well, so first off, B2B is
business to business,
and then B2C is business to
consumer, customer, whatever.
Okay, gotcha.
So B2B will tend to be these calls are a little bit more straightforward. You don't have to really dive into too much pain. You could still dive into pain, just not as heavy because you don't really need to. Because at the end of the day, the selling point is like if you pay me $5,000, I'll help you make $20,000.
Right.
You know what I mean?
As from business owner, it's like, yo, we all talk money. How much? I don't need to sit here and talk about why my grandma didn't love me. Like, let's make some money.
Exactly. Right. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to a $50,000 mastermind,
right? You
don't really have to tap into this stuff. I already know what I'm getting myself into. Just let's get to it. Compared to B2C, where it's like, what makes me think that me paying you $10,000 is going to help me get out of this problem? And is it really valuable enough for me to pay you $10,000? And I think what makes a true salesperson, if somebody can sell B2C, they will crush B2B, because I think that's true selling. You're really convincing somebody to really pay you $5,000 to help you with their relationship.
Right.
You know? So it's extremely important to also know the difference. I don't want people over here, the business owners, being like, oh, well, I don't need to dive in. You do to a point where they need to realize that your leads are causing possible relationship problems. You're not going to be able to pay your customers. Not pay your clients. A lot of people are going to get affected, and you might be homeless, and now your kids are out of a house. That's how you tap into that pain, because you can really tap into that pain. And if you're getting 20 leads and you're closing 10 of those leads, you're making about $50,000 a month. How would that change your life?
Right.
You can still play with it, but you don't really have to talk about the deep emotional trauma that's attached to why they're not succeeding. You know?
Interesting. I'm getting goosebumps, brother. This is okay. But now here's one big thing that we dove into the nitty gritty of like the science that really goes into these calls. But there's one thing I really want to get into because it's unavoidable in sales. Objection, right? That's because I know there are probably a bunch of people listening to this right now. You've done sales calls. I've done sales calls. It doesn't matter how great your offer is. If you don't run into objection at any point in time during your time trying to learn sales, you're probably not actually doing sales. Let's dive a little bit into that. How do we deal with objection when it comes to sales? What are some of the some of the different strategies and tips that you can implement within your sales coaching experience that you can give to others as well that they could use?
So, and this is why discovery is extremely important. You deal with these objections during discovery.
Okay.
So when you're talking to the person, they're like, "Oh, I don't have any money. I make $2,000 a month. I'm broke. You know what I mean? I'm struggling. I'm in debt." You've already, all right, got it. So, how are you surviving?
And then from there, you're just diving into it.
You're finding out the because here's the thing. You're already framed because this is why the discovery is so important.
Right.
All right. Are you by yourself? Are you single? Are you dating? Oh, you have a spouse. God, the shit on you on this call. Okay, do you usually tell her like about these situations? Because now I'm trying to figure out, all right, is she the decision maker or are you the decision maker? Because if she's the one that's going to pay the money, no, we're not having this call. There's no point. Let's reschedule when she's on this call. So I just stopped the spouse objection before it even happened.
Right.
Because I called it out. What people where people mess up is they don't ask these powerful or specific questions. So it gets to the end, and then because they didn't deal with it in discovery, they deal with it at the end. Oh, I got to think about it. All right, got it. So let me just break this down. Hypothetically speaking, money isn't an issue. All right. If you didn't have to pay, does this process make sense to you? How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready would you jump? How ready are you to jump if money wasn't an issue? Well, 9. Got it. So finance is the only problem. Got it. So you told me, and we just spoke about this, and you really want to you're very serious about getting this stuff, and you really want to help your family. You talk about the pains and the pleasure. But the truth is, how serious are you?
Right.
And now you're kind of calling them out. Be like, all right, so let's have a very transparent conversation. Are you comfortable with me asking you some serious questions? Be like, yeah, got it. So, how much money do you have? How much cash on hand do you have right now? Well, I have $2,000. Got it. Do you have a line of credit? No. Are you opposed to opening a line of credit to actually get this to happen? I mean, maybe. So cool. So let's talk about it. So right now we have this plan, and I really want to help you make this happen. So how about we put a $1,000 deposit right now? Well, you get all that stuff situated. You get access to the course. You just jump in, get a feel for it, get a taste of it. We give them that hit because once they get in, it's the fear is like, is this going to really help me?
Right.
I need to get them into that thing, and then hopefully one of the coaches will like tie them down and like convince them, and they'll see the community, they'll see everything, and be like, all right, maybe I do really have to find out the money for this. And usually that's a great tactic that pulls them in. Just because here's the thing, if you get them to buy at least a little bit, they're somewhat committed. And $1,000 is not that serious. A lot of people, it's really not that serious. People will find a way to make that money. But what it does is actually now it creates a sense of urgency where now they need to figure out how they're going to pay for the rest of the course.
Right.
And you're getting something. You're not getting the whole thing, but you're getting something to get some sort of commitment. And again, calling them out, having these serious conversations. If somebody's in the discovery thing, they're telling you their whole life is great. I'll call them and be like, all right, so why are we here? Why'd you jump on this call?
Right.
You're making $50,000 a month? Beautiful. How much are you keeping? You're keeping $2,000. Got it. So you're not really making $50,000 a month. Your business is making $50,000 a month.
Right.
So you do need some help.
Right.
Huh. So are we going to have a transparent conversation, or are we going to sit there and dilly-dally and like BS? Cool. So let's get into it. You see how my frame just changed? Not smiling. I don't really care.
Just getting to business.
Yeah. Don't lie to me. I've done this long enough. And again, it completely changed. It's funny how like you go from rapport to like, I'll be smiling, and as soon as I ask the question, what motivated you to jump on this call, my face changes. Everything changes because now I'm not your friend. I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you.
So now my question to you is, even being at the position that you're at now when it comes to these calls, how important is it for you and also for other people who are watching to listen back to these, right? Because you got to be able to kind of go back, listen to everything that you're doing, your framing, your tonality, you know, how you're getting into the three truths and things of that nature. How important is reviewing those calls to our growth in learning how to sell?
Call reviews are everything. Like, people think they're doing good. You're really not. All right. And what tends to happen on these calls is people have nervous tics. Either they're looking away from the camera. And this is all for Zoom calls, by the way. They're looking away. They're That, when you do it enough times, it actually hurts you more than helps you. It's good if you do it a couple of times because it shows you're listening. But if you do it multiple times, it actually shows that you're actually spacing out. You're not actually listening to what they're saying. And sometimes people will do that to kind of overcompensate their own insecurity or their own uncomfort on these calls. Or they'll laugh and they'll make jokes because it's getting uncomfortable and they're trying to get them out of that uncomfort. When in reality, when they're getting uncomfortable, that's when you should dive a little bit deeper. It's extremely important to kind of hold that frame where it's like you see it once you're reviewing the call. And the big thing I also forgot to mention is the idea of validating. So like when you're on these calls, somebody says, "Oh, like I'm an architect. You know what I mean? I design skyscrapers." Instead of like, "Oh my God, that's so cool. I'm so like, it's awesome." You're like, "Oh, cool. Awesome. All right. So how is that related to what we're doing right now?" Or like how, like, and then just bring it back to like, you know, if you ask them what would you do for work, "Oh, got it. Sick. Do you like what you do?" You see how like I'm not impressed. But when you're impressed on these calls by what they're saying, you basically put them on a pedestal. And when they feel like they're on a pedestal, they don't need you. So they're not going to buy from you. And now you're going back into friendly frame. They don't really respect you as the authority figure. And then if you sit there and you pity them, like, "Oh my God, that's so sad." Well, this happened to me like 2 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? I was homeless too. And then I found like high ticket sales. And what you're doing is you're just selling. Don't sell your product. You're never selling. Don't talk about your product at all. Don't mention it. It doesn't even exist. It's not about you. It's about them. People think rapport is relating. Like, you tell me a story, I'm going to tell you a story. No. A quick relatable situation is like, you have 4 kids. Oh God, man, I get it, man. I got 4 kids too. A lot of sleepless nights. But anyways, how has it been affecting them? You see how we just related quickly? Right. I just showed you that, hey, listen, I get your pain.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit there and tell you, "Oh, little Bobby had a soccer game yesterday. And then Samantha, you know, we're taking her to Niagara Falls next." Like, you know, it doesn't matter. It's not relevant. Right. It's not, and I think a lot of salespeople, they realize once they do the call reviews, they realize that they're making it all about them. And that's when they have to shift. Just shutting up makes a big difference.
Ahmad, I'm gonna break your mic, brother. You doing too much right now. This is fantastic. Yo, man, I want to give you my credit card right now.
Dude, this is a $20,000 script. That is true. That broke down. Like, guys, like, this is literally the masterclass. Like, it's never gonna be like, this is all the information. Right. You're not gonna, like, this is not like an upsell where, "Oh, by the way, sign up for my course and I'll give you." No, this is literally everything. Right. Only for you.
I appreciate it, my brother. Listen, I know I have to get you out of here, but there's one to kind of wrap it up. Before we let the people know where to find you. For anybody that wasn't too familiar with high ticket sales coming into this interview, they're listening now, and their interest has now been piqued. They're like, "All right, I want to learn a little bit more about high ticket sales." Answer this question for me. Finish the sentence for me. You should not learn about or get into high ticket sales as an entrepreneur if you aren't blank.
If you aren't comfortable, be uncomfortable.
Talk about that.
High ticket sales is not a get rich quick scheme.
Okay.
You can make a lot of money very, very quick on a very predictable path. But it requires a lot of work. And a lot of that work is mental. And a lot of people don't want to put in that work. They don't want to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, "I want to face my demons. I'm insecure about asking people for money. I'm insecure about having people be uncomfortable in front of me. I'm insecure about people being liked." And if you can't get over these things, you won't make it as a salesperson. As a high ticket salesperson, to be exact. You can make it as a salesperson, just selling stuff that doesn't really matter. But as a high ticket salesperson, you genuinely have to go in there with the mindset of serving the people. If you focus on how can I be of best service to you, how can I truly help you out of your pain, because I really, really care about you. I mean, at the end of the day, you'll be like another car salesman. It's not real.
Right. There you go. My guy, Ahmad Jabara, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you so much, brother, for coming on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. For those who don't know, let the people know where you can find. You can use this camera, this camera, this camera. It don't matter.
I want to use your camera, but like it's not angle at me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's not. So I mean, you can use your camera. Let the people know where they can find you at, man.
Like I said, just follow me on Instagram, Imad Speaks. That's the best place to find me. Again, if you guys are interested in learning more about sales, join closers.io, remote closing academy with Cole Gordon.
Yeah, talk about that. I know you're very fond of them. Talk a little bit more about closers.io.
Guys, listen, I am really good at sales, but I am not arrogant enough to know that I can't learn more. And that is the big reason. And a lot of people are going to be, like, I get this question a lot. Look, if you're running a successful six-figure company or multiple six-figure companies, why did you join another company and help them, like, build? And I'm like, because I did 6 figures. This man is doing almost 9 figures.
Oh, Lord. Let me sit up.
And I want to learn the systems. I want to learn how they operate. I want to learn the leadership. I want to learn what it takes to be a man that makes 9 figures.
Right.
And there's something about it where it's like, and it's exciting because at least with the company, it's like top 1% of all closers, the top 1% of all coaches. Dude, the pressure is crazy. And there's something so exciting about, for entrepreneurs that are real entrepreneurs, they love building. When I delegated my company, I have a coach under me, I have salespeople, I got bored. I had nothing to do. I was making good money, but I had literally the dream life and I was going insane.
Right.
And now I got 100 and like something clients and I'm over the moon because I'm creating.
Right.
So at the end of the day, like, as an entrepreneur, don't ever be arrogant enough to be like, yo, you can't learn from somebody doing better than you. And having mentors is literally the best way to do it.
Facts.
You know, so again, either Imad Speaks at Instagram or join Closers.io, Remote Closing Academy. Ask for me as a coach, you know.
There you go.
And then get your success. You know, we're out here changing lives.
Changing lives.
Doing God's work.
Doing God's work. My brother, thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate
and thank you for tapping into this episode. As always, this is the Marvin Francois Show. And if you haven't already, what are you doing? Listen, just take a second, take a minute, take an hour out of your day right here, right now to just go ahead and slap that like button. And make sure you follow my brother on all social media platforms and show him some love. I'm Marvin Francois. This is Ahmad Jabara. Y'all have been good. We've been great. This has been amazing. And as always, thank you and God bless. Peace.